On? No. Is this thing on? Yes? Wonderful. We're going to be starting in about 5 minutes, y'all, just to help other folks have some time to get here, given all the construction. So 5 minutes. Well, good evening, and welcome one and all to the celebration of life of Mark William Siepker, a man who lived life with abundant enthusiasm. Friends, it's our hope that you can feel that energy alive with us here tonight. My name is Reverend Juniper Meadows, and I serve as the minister at Second Unitarian Church of Omaha on 119th and Center, where Mark was a proud member for several years. I'm a tall transgender woman with long curly hair and glasses, wearing a colorful preaching robe emblazoned with a Unitarian Universalist chalice on the back and a rainbow stole that was gifted to me by Mark from his time as a Humanist Celebrant. It is my honor to stand before you this evening in both sorrow and celebration, made one in this moment. And we'd like to extend gratitude to the good folks of First Unitarian Church of Omaha for hosting us this evening. Mark was so well loved, and we would not have had the room we needed otherwise. So avail yourself to the facilities and take care of yourselves during this time. Should you need to stand or step outside for a second, that's okay. Bathrooms are through this door to the side. Following the service, we will have an ice cream reception downstairs with abundant refreshments, so please stick around and enjoy as you are able. Many of Mark's fellow members of Second Unitarian are here tonight as well. May we mingle in that lovely spirit of fellowship that Mark carried so well. We extend a special welcome to Mark's immediate family and close friends and hold in our hearts those who could not make it tonight for the sake of health or distance or the confusion of Omaha construction. It is so good. It is so good to center down together. Before we light our chalice, let us take a brief moment of silence to call to heart those who may be missing and those ancestors and fellow travelers that loved Mark into the man that he was, that he might have loved us into the people that we have become. Just a moment. Who has loved you into this moment? And now I'd like to invite Sloane and Rowan forward to light our chalice. And I have a poem that came to mind this morning that just feels like something Mark would have appreciated, a man who likely never failed to enjoy a summer day. This poem by that luminary of the living world, Mary Oliver, called aptly The Summer Day. Who made the world? Who made the swan and the black bear? Who made the grasshopper? This grasshopper, I mean, the one who has flung herself out of the grass, the one who is eating sugar out of my hand, who is moving her jaws side to side instead of up and down, who is gazing around with her enormous and complicated eyes. Now she lifts her pale forearms and thoroughly washes her face. Now she snaps her wings open and floats away. I don't know exactly what a prayer is. I do know how to pay attention, how to fall down into the grass, how to kneel down in the grass, how to be idle and blessed, how to stroll through the fields, which is what I have been doing all day. Tell me, what else should I have done? Doesn't everything die at last and too soon? Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild, precious life? Our first hymn is number 311, and the hardback Singing the Living Tradition hymnal that should be in your pews. I'll invite our singers from Second Unitarian forward. One quick note, friends, on the second verse. We've had a slight word change where it says, a star is born, a child is born, the old must die. Let us sing, a child is born, we all must die, for it is just true. And rise and body your spirit, friends. Let us lift voices together. I'd like to invite our first eulogist up. Andy? Huh? Oh my goodness, thank you, Anita. Sometimes I forget things. It's okay to be reminded. Mark's story. It's an insert in your order of service if you'd like to follow along. Mark William Siepker, age 71, passed away on May 6, 2026 in Omaha, Nebraska. He was born on October 28, 1954 in Carroll, Iowa, the eldest of 5 children, born to Ray and Marlene Siepker. Mark grew up in Manning, Iowa. He enjoyed playing basketball and football in high school and continued to play recreational basketball well into his 50s. He especially enjoyed playing basketball with his sons. Having met during college in Omaha, Mark and Becky married on July 30th of 1977. They have 3 sons, Andy, Jeff, and Bret. Mark was a CPA and held accounting positions with Northern Natural Gas, First Delta, and most recently with the city of Bellevue, retiring in 2018 to care for Becky. Mark was an avid bicyclist and a frequent participant in organized rides across Iowa and Minnesota. He and Becky enjoyed many rides together. They rode a tandem bike in the ride across Iowa in 1989, and in the ride across Minnesota in 1995. In 2005, Mark and his good friend Harvey Labs took a 3-week bike trip over 1,100 miles from Baton Rouge, Louisiana to St. Charles, Missouri, near St. Louis. This shared journey was an especially treasured experience that deepened their long friendship. In 2009, Mark and his son Jeff rode a special tandem bike with a recumbent front seat from Omaha to St. Louis as a fundraiser for the Ollie Webb Center that serves to enrich the lives of people with disabilities. For their efforts, the Siepker family received the Family Volunteers Award from United Way. In June of 2000, Mark recruited his family, including many extended members, to host a 9P- conference at Mahoney State Park. 9P- refers to the chromosomal mutation that his son Jeff and others share, causing a developmental disability. 36 families from 5 different countries attended this 3-day event with perfect weather for the outdoor activities, including a special kite flying event. The conference was a huge success. When Jeff turned 30, Mark and Becky organized a huge birthday celebration for him at Henry Dooley Zoo. Again, the party was a huge success with Jeff and his friends dancing the night away. As Mark often quipped, "Can you say that you had a live penguin at your birthday party?" Though raised Catholic in his 50s, Mark came to realize that he was a humanist. He often noted that everyone is some type of atheist because no one can believe every concept of God. He hated to see religion used as a source of division in our culture. At one point, Mark served as president of the local Humanist chapter, and in that role attended national conferences. He was proud to take training at the St. Paul Unitarian Church in Minnesota to become Nebraska's first official Humanist Celebrant, meaning he could perform humanist weddings and other rites of passage. After Becky's diagnosis of early onset Alzheimer's and his surgery for prostate cancer, Mark felt the need for a supportive community. In 2018, Mark, Becky, and Jeff joined Second Unitarian Church of Omaha. He appreciated the big tent of diverse religious beliefs. Mark cared for Becky at home until May 2021, when Becky moved into memory care at the Cedarhurst in La Vista. Mark knew he could no longer safely care for her at home, especially as he faced a stem cell transplant to treat multiple myeloma. It's a type of blood cancer. However, Mark made it his life's mission to provide as many moments of joy as possible for Becky, especially dancing at the weekly music program held at Cedarhurst. He never minded that they were the only ones dancing. Mark and Anita Jeck became close friends through the Second Unitarian Church Dementia Caregivers Group. Anita's husband, Greg, passed away from early onset Alzheimer's in 2017. In 2021, Mark moved to Anita's home so she could support his recovery from the transplant. As Mark continued to recover and regain strength, he and Anita often enjoyed taking Becky and Jeff out to eat, to Storm Chasers baseball games, watching Nebraska football games, picnics, and trips to see family in Iowa. On January 2nd, 2026, Becky's 12-year journey with Alzheimer's ended as she passed away peacefully with Mark at her bedside. Though Mark's first stem cell transplant in 2021 was successful in putting multiple myeloma in remission in October of 2025, he was diagnosed with a second type of blood cancer, acute lymphoblastic leukemia. Mark immediately began a journey of chemotherapy, leading to a second stem cell transplant in March of this year. Many complications quickly developed that his body could not overcome. Mark passed away on May 6, 2026, with nurses holding his hands and reassuring him that Bret and Anita were on their way. Now I'd like to invite our first eulogist, Andy.
All right. Thanks for being here today. My dad would have been deeply touched to see so many people here that he loved. Everyone here knew my dad in some way, but I thought in this eulogy it would be important to share from a son's perspective how he lived his life and ultimately how he shaped my life. You see, a dad's relationship with his sons is very important. I think it's one of the key things to defining a father's legacy. A father is a role model who instills values that provide the foundation for growth throughout life for his sons. So what did my dad teach me in his time here on earth? 3 things that I would want to leave you with today. First, and most importantly, it all starts with integrity. Be honest, keep your word, stand up for what you believe. Lying was not tolerated from as young as I can remember, and I have excellent penmanship to prove that. Funny story here. I don't know if this is still allowable now that we've gotten a bit soft in terms of punishing our children, but I used to have to write out 100 times, I will not lie. I got very good at just drawing a line down the page and then crossing the I's or the T's and that sort of thing. So ultimately, I think it taught me ingenuity too, but anyhow, the most important thing was that integrity was a table stake, but it was more than just that. My father taught me to look people in the eye, have a hand firm shake. If you're going to do something, do it the right way. That was very, very important and something that was always impressed upon me. And my dad walked the talk. He did it. He lived it. He showed this every day. The second thing that my dad taught me is that life takes grit, work ethic, toughness, resilience. I was encouraged to dream big, but understand that success has to be earned. It's not an entitlement. And that also curveballs in life should be expected. But it wasn't that, hey, things are going to happen that might be hard. It was, how are you going to handle it when the times get tough, when something comes up that you don't expect? And no matter what, always be resilient. Quitting is never an option. Giving up is never an option. And this is something that my dad truly did exemplify. He showed grit throughout his life. There was several curveballs from raising a special needs son, to my mom's journey with dementia, to ultimately how he faced cancer with courage multiple times and showed up every day saying he would beat the disease. And then finally, my dad taught me about love. Both my mom and dad loved deeply and unconditionally. We have hope, faith, and love, but truly the greatest is love because it endures. My dad's love is still here today. It still comes through. He is no longer here, but his love for everyone in this room will endure forever. Well, it is sad. I miss my dad. I wish we had more time together. I am always going to be extremely grateful that I had him as a father. He will never be forgotten. I wouldn't be the man I am without him today. I hope you're in heaven, keeping mom company. And we recently lost our golden doodle, which had a complicated relationship with my dad. So I think maybe when he got up there, he was a bit surprised to see Stanley up there as well. But I'll leave it up to them to work it out. I'm sure they will. I love you, Dad. You'll be missed. And I hope to make you proud the rest of my life. Thank you.
Now I'd like to invite Bret to come speak.
Thank you all for being here today to celebrate my dad's life. My dad was truly one of a kind. If you knew him, you know there was nobody quite like him. He could find an excuse to wear a costume for just about anything. Whether it was dressing up while being admitted to the hospital for treatment, going to Beauty and the Beast with his granddaughter dressed as the Beast himself, or convincing the rest of us to dress as Jurassic Park characters when we went to see the movie with the symphony at the Holland Center. He embraced life with an enthusiasm that was impossible to ignore. That willingness to be himself without worrying about what anyone else thought is something I inherited from him and will always be grateful for. While going through my dad's things, I found a folder labeled funeral. As most of you know, Dad was incredibly organized. Everything had a place and everything had a label. In fact, he even labeled his label maker Mark's Label Maker. True. Inside that folder were all kinds of notes and plans. One of them said he wanted his celebration of life to be held at the zoo and that it should be a party. Unfortunately, the zoo doesn't really accommodate celebrations of life, and for the partying part, well, that might have been a slight exaggeration. Because one year, Jordan, my dad, and I attended Extreme Beer Fest at the Crescent Moon. By the end of the evening, he had enjoyed himself so much that he had written his own name on the palm of his hand and would simply hold it up to introduce himself to people. So maybe party animal wasn't exactly his strongest trait. Also in that folder was a quote from Helen Keller. Life is either a daring adventure or nothing at all. That quote captured my dad perfectly. For him, life was about experiences, adventures, and making memories with the people you loved. Growing up, every summer brought a new adventure. We traveled everywhere in our family van. We completed 8 bicycle trips across the state of Minnesota. During those rides, I would ask, Dad, do you think there are any fish in that lake? Every time we passed the lake. Considering Minnesota is the land of 10,000 lakes, that's a lot of questions. We drove all the way to Disney World one year, only for the van to break down in a small town in Georgia. It took a day to fix, and the only thing to do in the town was bowl. Dad bowled so well that the locals invited him back the following week for their town tournament. On a trip to the Ozarks, he made us drive an hour out of our way, both directions, just to eat a peanut butter-filled cheeseburger called the Goober Burger in Sedilla, Missouri. To this day, I am still not sure it was worth it, but he absolutely thought it was. As he got older, the spirit of adventure didn't fade. He just shifted it to his grandchildren. Being a papa was one of his greatest joys. He would pick the kids up from school for what he called Adventure Wednesdays. He and Mom would sit in the driveway drinking coffee just so that they could wave at us when we drove by. There were fishing trips to Minnesota, countless trips to Don and Millie's with Mom, Jeff, and Anita, and more school events, sporting events, concerts, and activities than I can count. After seeing the grandkids, he would often say, "Today was a great day because I got to see my grandchildren." And he meant it every single time. Just last weekend, after leaving a track meet, I caught myself wanting to pick up the phone and call him so I could tell him how well they had done. He was their biggest fan, and he loved watching them do the things they loved. I also have tremendous admiration for the love and care he devoted to Mom and Jeff throughout his life. I know he had imagined growing older alongside them, with many more adventures ahead. Life, however, had different plans. As circumstances changed and new challenges emerged, Dad adapted the way he always did, with determination and resilience. Along the way, he met Anita. Anita brought joy, companionship, and support into his life during some incredibly difficult years. Most importantly, she let Dad be exactly who he was, and for that, I will always be grateful. She even let him throw himself a roast for his 70th birthday, which remains one of the most confusing decisions I have ever witnessed someone willingly make. Dad loved Superman. He had a giant Superman decals on the basement walls. He wore Superman shirts. He collected Superman memorabilia. And honestly, after everything he survived, I started to wonder if he actually was Superman. Over the years, he endured a car battery exploding in his face, prostate cancer, being hit by a deer while riding his bike, multiple myeloma, a heart attack, a stroke, and leukemia. And he just kept getting back up. When he coded twice in the hospital, I even joked with Anita that when he pulled through, we would never hear the end of it. Heartbreakingly, we never got that chance. After he passed, I sat with him, held his hand, and told him how proud I was of the way he fought through everything life threw at him. And I know he's proud of me too. If Dad could leave us with one final message, I think it would be this. Live life the way he did. Say yes to the adventure. Take the detour for the goober burger. Wear the costume. Show up for the people you love. Make the memories. Because as Dad believed, life is either a daring adventure or nothing at all. Love you, Dad. Thanks.
We have a final eulogy written by Anita Jeck, read by our friend from Second Unitarian, Chris Peters. Chris?
Good evening. My name is Chris Peters, friend of Mark's for quite a while, friend of Anita's for much longer. I spoke to Anita on Sunday, and Anita told me, I've written this eulogy for Mark, but I'm not sure that I can get through it on Friday nights, and I'm looking for somebody who can read this for me. And I said, Anita, here I am. I stand ready. And so here I am. These are Anita's words. During the isolating time of the COVID pandemic, myself, Mark, Becky, and frequently their son Jeff were an isolation bubble. We often got together for meals, picnics, short trips, or to play Scrabble, guys against the girls. We made the best of a difficult time by having fun together. It was during this time that Mark was diagnosed with smoldering multiple myeloma, a type of blood cancer. In other words, he didn't have multiple myeloma yet, but needed to be monitored in the likelihood that it was on the horizon, which it was. Mark enjoyed telling people that he was smoldering. Though he joked about the term, the uncertainty was a dark shadow, especially since he had had prostate cancer just a few years earlier. Wondering if and how he could continue to be there to care for Becky and Jeff weighed heavily on him. He was relieved and extremely grateful as it became apparent that Jeff's living situation with his caregiver, LV, and his family was working out well and that Jeff was happy. Mark hoped that he could be there for Becky throughout her journey with Alzheimer's disease, and thankfully, he was. The bond between Mark and Becky was born of young love and starting out in life, a love that deepened profoundly over decades of raising a family together through times of joy and challenge. The deep bond of friendship between Mark and I grew out of a shared understanding of loss, the fragility of life, and companionship in facing elderhood. In some ways, we were oxygen for each other. At some point, sorrow and loss are inevitable for everyone. However, love, joy, and friendship soothe that pain and make life worthwhile. Mark had a knack for filling days with as much joy as possible. He didn't just find joy or nurture it, he actively created it. The more joy Mark could create, the more he had to share with Becky, Jeff, and, well, everyone. Though our time together was far too short, living with Mark was a daily dose of gratitude for all the best things in life. And his delightfully infectious and quirky sense of humor tickled me, as I think it did many others. As an accountant, the man loved a good spreadsheet. His favorite ones, though, had little to do with money. They were about fun. Things like trips, bike rides, and family events. One he seemed particularly proud of had been for some sort of holiday beer tasting competition with his coworkers. Mark measured life in smiles, especially those he could bring to others, and by that metric, he was exceedingly wealthy. I am blessed with many great memories of all the fun things Mark insisted we pack into life. I think he realized he was living on borrowed time and was determined to live life to the fullest while he still could. Lots of bike rides, trips, activities with Becky and Jeff, storm chaser baseball games, church and family gatherings, all kinds of wonderful adventures with grandkids, and lots of sappy Hallmark movies. So many Hallmark movies. Friends may have thought Mark was just joking about watching so many. He would tell them, "Don't tell anyone. I don't want to lose any man points." Of course, he told everyone himself and really couldn't care less about man points. He made it a bit of a game to guess plot points, such as which character would provide wise counsel or what would be the nature of the inevitable misunderstanding. He always stopped to note at what point in the movie the first kiss came. He was seriously considering making a spreadsheet. One reason he liked them was because if he dozed off, which happened a lot, he knew the gist of the storyline and that the main characters get together in the end. And Hallmark movies kept to his 2-hour rule. Mark insisted movies should not be over 2 hours long, especially fantasies, his least favorite genre. He used to say, since they're making it all up anyway, why don't they just make it up shorter? Mark also had little patience for long meetings and overly deep theological discussions. Not that such things weren't important, it's just that things like bike rides, naps, catching a ball game, family fun, or watching his favorite silly movie Dodgeball again were equally important, if not more so. As for religion, Mark figured it's not complicated. Just be kind. He even made his own Be Kind sticker for his van. You might say kindness was his religion because it was a core part of who he was and how he chose to live. Mark excelled at infusing fun into life, even with inherently serious matters. It was his superpower. He understood that if you can't find a way to bring joy to the game, you've already lost. When he was diagnosed with a second blood cancer, acute leukemia, last October, in typical Mark fashion, pun intended, he wore a Superman costume to his first hospital admission to begin his journey of chemotherapy. For the next admission, he dressed as the Beast from Beauty and the Beast, with a sign that read, "Cancer is a beast, defeat the beast." The next time, he was a pirate, "Make cancer walk the plank." Then, as a character from the Dodgeball movie, help Mark dodge cancer. And for the last hospitalization and his second stem cell transplant, he dressed as a piñata, with signage that said, "Beat cancer like a piñata." No one faced challenges with a better attitude than Mark. It made you feel confident that he could overcome anything. Those that knew Mark were always impressed with his amazing grace in facing more than his share of challenges. I take great comfort in knowing that he actually saw himself as very fortunate. More than once over the past year, Mark said that he had already lived a great, full life, one that he felt privileged to enjoy with wonderful family and friends. He considered anything more as simply bonus. The trouble with losing such a bright and colorful light in your life is that when it goes out, the darkness suddenly seems overwhelmingly sad. The darkness may be understandable and unavoidable, but Mark would not want anyone to dwell in it for very long. The most important thing I learned from knowing and loving Mark is the importance of making room for joy, especially when times seem dark. The good news is that we don't have to be Superman or dress like a piñata to light up the darkness. We all have our own ways of bringing love, light, and joy to the world. As Mark would say, just be kind to others and yourself. Embrace all of life, the good times and the bad, as an adventure. Prioritizing family, friends, and fun help to make it all worthwhile.
And now, friends, we have some time for some short memories. If there's something that you would feel called to share from the pulpit, a minute and a half, please come forward and share. And if not, then we will share some silence together, and that is also just fine. This is your time, though, friends.
This isn't very easy for me, but I'm going to do it anyway. It always amazes me how joy and sorrow can exist in the same person at the same time. Mark passed away on May 6th of this year. On May 6th of 2005, we were on our second day of our 3-week-long 1,100-mile bike trip. And that was really a fun time and a memory that I will always have. I have a couple of fun things to talk about too. And Bret, look at me, he probably knows what it is. He shared a lot of memories with him. And there's another one that you already know what I'm talking about, don't you? In addition to the tram, one of the rides that Mark liked to do was the Headwaters 100. It starts at Park Rapids, which is near Itasca State Park. Itasca State Park is where the headwaters of the Mississippi River is. So one year, more than 15 years ago, how old were you, Bret? 17. And he and his friend Mark, younger Mark, were along. And so I don't know if they stayed overnight in Wahpeton, so we all rode from Wahpeton to Park Rapids together. And I don't think it reached 40 degrees that day. And it might have even been a drizzle. And so it's called the Headwaters 100 because there's two options. You can do 100K, which is about 62 miles, and their 100K is probably more like 65. Or you can do 100 miles, which is a century, and almost everybody wants to do a century one time in their life. But it was cold. And at that time, I had done many centuries. I'm an avid bicyclist, like Mark was. And so to me, it wasn't a big deal. But I remember at the point where we had to decide, do we want to do the metric century or do we want to do the regular century? And those guys drove 700 miles, so I'm not going to say anything. So I just sat there off the side. But I was really, really hoping that they would pick for the metric century because that would be 10 more miles. The regular 100 miles was going to be another 40 miles, and it was cold. And so I'm sitting there thinking, so after a bit, Mark says, they're discussing, and he said, Mark the elder, Siepker, says, well, Mark has never done a century, and he really wants to do one, so we're going to do the century. And so that's what we did. And I think that's kind of an indication. Bret and Andy have mentioned so many things about him, but that really is an indication of what I would call his kindness. And it's something we never forget. And then, let's see, there was one more. Another one, same ride, Headwaters 100. This time it's with me and Judy and Lynn, two ladies. And we did a regular century that time. We get back to the parking lot, and it's 99.6. And you round that rounds off to 100. But Mark, a spreadsheet guy, the accountant, he says, that's not good enough for me. So he rides around the parking lot to get in 100 miles. And Judy is an accountant. She's very precise. So she said, well, I'm going to ride too. And so I said, well, I'll go along with it. So 3 of us are riding around the parking lot to get 100 miles in. And then Lynn, the other one, says, good enough for me. So she sat and watched this. But that's all I was going to say, but I got one more since Mark was some kind of a beer brewing class. Okay? And I think it met once a week. And 1 week he was out of town, so Becky went there. And then the next week, when Mark was back in town, he went there, and everybody says, where's Becky? She's a lot more fun than you are. Well, thanks for listening to me.
We may have time for one more short memory if someone else would like to share.
Good evening. Didn't imagine I'd be up here talking tonight, but thought I'd come up here and share a short memory of Mark. We met through cycling in the early 2000s, and I remember we did a lot of cycling, got to be good friends, and we would also started kind of running into each other at the annual Omaha Earth Day celebration every year. And I remember one year we had been friends on Facebook for a while, and I was pretty open in my humanism. I'm a member of the humanist group that Mark was in, and I remember at that humanist event, it was probably 2012 or 2013, Mark was manning the bicycle corral at the Omaha Humanist event. And in making the rounds, I saw him there, so I went up and said hello. And he said, "Are you here?" And I said, "Yeah, we got a booth over there." And he said, "Well, I want to come talk to you when I get a break here. You and I kind of share a lot of the same philosophy." And so I'm thinking to myself, I wonder what that's about. And but he came over and said, yeah, he was a humanist as well. And we started talking about the fact that I'd been thinking about forming a humanist group with another friend of mine here in Omaha. And we ended up getting that all put together, and we became a chartered chapter of the American Humanist Association. And our group had its first meeting in January of 2014, and we needed to find a president for the group. And it was pretty much a unanimous decision by everybody at the table to choose Mark as the first member of our group. And that was the greatest decision we could have made. He was a great leading member and really got the group set off on the right foot. And here we are some 12 years later, still going strong, still have a nice humanist community in Omaha. And I think we owe a great part of that to Mark. So he will be missed.
Thank you for sharing memories, everybody. Plenty of time for us to share more memories during the reception, so please do connect with people, do listen, do share. Mark lived a truly full life, and there's so much to say in this room. We do have a special memorial video on the screen I'd like to direct your attention to.
We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. We shall be known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. We shall be known known by the company we keep, by the ones who circle round to tend these fires. We shall be known by the ones who sow and reap the seeds of change alive from deep within the earth. It is time now. It is time now that we thrive. It is time we lead ourselves into the well. It is time now, and what a time to be alive. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love. In this great turning we shall learn to lead in love.
Just yesterday morning, they let me know you were gone. Suzanne, the plans they made put an end to you. I walked out this morning and I wrote down this song. I just can't remember who to send it to. I've seen fire and I've seen rain. I've seen sunny days that I thought would never end. I've seen lonely times when I could not find a friend. But I always thought that I'd see you again. Won't you look down upon me, Jesus? You gotta help me make a stand. Just got to see me through another day. My body's aching and my time is at hand. I won't make it any other way. Whoa, I've seen fire and I've seen rain. I've seen sunny days that I thought would never end. Seen lonely times when I could not find a friend. But I always thought that I'd see you again. Been walking my mind to an easy time, my back turned towards the sun. Lord knows when the cold wind blows, it'll turn your head around. Well, there's hours of time on the telephone line to talk about things to come. Sweet dreams and flying machines in pieces on the ground. Whoa, I've seen fire and I've seen rain. I've seen sunny days that I thought would never end. I've seen lonely times when I could not find a friend. But I always thought that I'd see you, baby, one more time again now. Thought I'd see you one more time again. There's just a few things coming my way this time around now. Thought I'd see you, thought I'd see you.
The stars, pull one come down for you, shining on my heart, so you could see the truth. And this love I have inside is everything it seems. But for now I find it's only in my dreams that I can change the world. I'll be the sunlight in your universe. You would think my love was really something good. Baby, if I could change the world. If I could be king, even for a day, I'd take you as my queen. I'd have no other way. And our love will rule in this kingdom we have made. Till then I'd be a fool, wishing for the day that I can change the world. I would be the sunlight in your universe. You would think my love was really something good. Baby, if I could change the world. Baby, if I could change the world. I could change the world. I would be the sunlight in your universe. You would think my love was really something good. Baby, if I could change the world. Baby, if I could change the world. Baby, if I could change the world.
A life well lived indeed. I'd like to invite Randy Wells forward to read a eulogy from a physicist by Aaron Freeman.
I made the decision to turn off my phone for some reason, so let me pull this up. I think the theme was dealing with the curveballs gracefully. Yeah, so I can. I knew Mark for what ultimately ended up being a pretty small sliver of his life, but he was a big part of bringing me on to the second Unitarian family. Having good discussions like that. Come on, technology, you can do it. Now I hummed the Jeopardy song. Yeah, someone. All right. But the reading I have here is maybe a more articulate version of what I'd be inclined to say regardless. I was having thoughts along the same lines as this reading when Anita contacted me and asked if I'd want to do the reading, so Naturally, I jumped at the opportunity. Let's see. All right, there we are. All right. This is a eulogy from a physicist. You want a physicist to speak at your funeral. You want the physicist to talk to your grieving family about the conservation of energy, so they will understand that your energy has not died. You want the physicist to remind your sobbing mother about the first law of thermodynamics, that no energy gets created in the universe and none is destroyed. You want your mother to know that all your energy, every vibration, every BTU of heat, every wave of every particle that was her beloved child remains with her in this world. You want the physicist to tell your weeping father that amid energies of the cosmos, you gave as good as you got. And at one point, you'd hope that the physicist would step down from the pulpit and walk to your broken-hearted spouse there in the pew and tell them that all the photons that ever bounced off your face, all the particles whose paths were interrupted by your smile, by the touch of your hair, hundreds of trillions of particles have raced off like children, their ways forever changed by you. And as your widow rocks in the arms of a loving family, may the physicist let her know that all the photons that bounced from you were gathered in the particle detectors that are her eyes, that those photons created within her constellations of electromagnetically charged neurons whose energy will go on forever. And the physicist will remind the congregation of how much of all of our energy is given off as heat. There may be a few fanning themselves with their programs, as he says it, and he will tell them that the warmth that flowed through you in life is still here, still part of all that we are, even as we who mourn continue the heat of our own lives. And you'll want the physicist to explain to those who loved you that they need not have faith. Indeed, they should not have faith. Let them know that they can measure, that scientists have measured precisely the conservation of energy and found it accurate, verifiable, and consistent across space and time. You can hope your family will examine the evidence and satisfy themselves that the science is sound and that they'll be comforted to know your energy is still around. According to the law of the conservation of energy, not a bit of you is gone. You're just less orderly. Amen.
Oh, so many papers. The first time I met Mark, my husband Vincent, and I were freshly and dusty off the long road from Tennessee to Omaha. It must have been 11 p.m., and what sweetest of hearts had opened their home up to us for those first few days at Anita Jeck and Mark Siepker. From the outset, it was clear to me, abundantly clear, that these were people possessed of a magnificent warmth, a deep love for one another. And as I came to know them better, I came to know their tremendous love for life itself. Mark was a man made of such an indefatigable joie de vivre, a heart wider than all those states he biked across, a love for his family that words could never fully capture. A man at once stable and center, reliable and honorable, who at once carried with him a vibrancy, a playfulness, dare I say, a silliness. And this is good and well. It's good to be silly, friends. It's good to let ourselves be more than one thing, Hold more than one thing at a time, the serious and the silly, the sorrow and the singing, the secular and the sacred. All these must have a home within the heart that would truly embrace its humanity. Such silliness is the stuff of survival, if not the body, then of the true self, the memory, the energy, all the little moments we are made of. Such a silliness, such a simple joy is the candle in the dark days of despair that scatters the pressing void far and wide. What a gift it is, what a gift it was to know and be known by this man. And for all of this complexity worn on his sleeve, Mark could sometimes be a hard man to read. I do not know if he was frightened upon his return to the hospital for treatment, but I imagine, yes, he likely was in his way. Some of you who spoke with him in quiet hours in the face of such an event may know better, but who wouldn't be scared? I would be. Most of us would probably be. Of course, we can be certain that any such fear was met with a tremendous courage expressed in costumes and as a willingness to try for love and for hope and for family and for life and for more time with you. Mark has died. And in the wake of this is a tremendous heartbreak. Perhaps at times a long night of tears that felt like it would just last forever. Perhaps now a slow burn, an ache, something that we are learning to live with day by breaking day. All that said, a cursory glance around this sanctuary with so many people festooned in life and colors would confound the mind who expects death to be met with only sorrow. Mark insisted that we wear bright colors, that we eat ice cream, that we carry his joy of life into the future, and this is good and right and worth honoring. But I also must insist that this is not a means of bypassing grief. Just as we have mentioned before, Mark's superpower is being able to make two things happen within one life, sorrow and joy, being super organized and being super silly. Just as fear can be met with courage, the serious with the silly, so too may our grief hold firm hands with a real and actual joy that at once honors our grief while simultaneously keeping a window open so the outside light of this great wide world that Mark loved so much could shine through. He loved this life. He loved this world. He loved you. That love is still here. As his minister, I can say that insofar as he had a theology, in a way he did, kindness primarily, he was concerned with this life, the memories made in these moments. Mark knew that each moment was absolutely tremendously precious, a gift beyond measure. So it is that Mark yet has something critical to teach us, particularly in this age of distraction and estrangement, the most precious gift we can ever give or receive. What is it? It's our time. Our precious time, expressed through our precious attention. Mark did not have hard or fixed beliefs about God. He was, as you know, as you have heard, a humanist through and through, and I can say that he was an excellent Unitarian Universalist as well. Mark may have not known, as Mary Oliver, our chalice-lighting poet, does not know exactly what a prayer is, but he absolutely did know how to pay attention, how to fall down into the grass, how to kneel down in the grass, how to be idle and blessed, how to stroll through the fields and bike across the landscape and share the precious moment. This he did all his days. And what else should he have done? Doesn't everything die at last and too soon? Tell me, tell yourself, in the quiet hours of this evening, your friends and new people you meet here, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? May we inhabit and live with such a question, turning it over in our hand like a jewel. And in the midst of our sorrow, may we harbor such a silliness, y'all, such a wanderlust, such an unquenchable joy, such a love for life, and a deep, deep mercy for the shortcomings of this world and ourselves, knowing that it and we are precious all the same. May we carry Mark's memory with us, feeling the indelible mark he made upon our lives, and know that in carrying such a memory and living it, that we keep him with us in the heart of our truest self, that deepest part of the self that may graze against despair but may never be claimed by it, shaping in part who we are and who we are becoming, in turn shaping who others are and how they are becoming. Nothing is at once erased. Mark is just less organized now. I don't think he would appreciate that. But as we sang, and let it be a dance, so it is a dance. And imagine what the world might be if we took a page from the Gospel of Mark Siepker, if we lived for love. And what if we loved to live? What if we lived as if we liked ourselves? If we truly cherished these precious moments shared together and knew them for the profound and tremendous riches that they are, imagine a world made one by such beloved attention, by such preposterous joy in the face of absurdity and despair and death itself. Let us carry such a fire forward for Mark, for the greater love, for life itself. Friends, our final song is Imagine by John Lennon. Mark, a big fan of the Beatles, a big fan of this song. You can find words in your order of service, and I invite you, as you feel led, friends, to rise in song with us and sing Mark off into tomorrow, into memory, and to us. Aced it. Thanks, Jeff. And for our closing words, friends, a reading from a luminary of our tradition of Unitarian Universalism, Mark Morrison Reed, that I think speaks to Mark's perspective on what life is really about, what our tradition is about. The central task of the religious community is to unveil the bonds that bind each to all. There is a connectedness, a relationship discovered amid the particulars of our own lives and the lives of others. Once felt, it inspires us to act for justice. It is the church that assures us we are not struggling on our own, but as members of a larger community. This community is essential, for alone our vision is too narrow to see all that must be seen, our strength too limited to do all that must be done. Together, our vision widens and our strength is renewed. May we attend to those relationships, friends, the ones that have made us who we are, the ones that are making the world what it is. May we know that we are all gardeners of such relationships. And so may we end with this prophetic people. This world, this great big wide world that Mark loved so much, this world made of interweavings and relationships, it awaits your liberating ministry. So let us go out and eat ice cream and celebrate and be fools for love, absolutely audacious, friends. And may we be pilgrims for such a justice, as Mark was a pilgrim for such a justice. And until we meet again, may we walk, roll, and move towards that beloved community on the horizon, where all may be as they are, and all may be as they are becoming. Go in peace. Time to party.